What's crackin' Eggheads? This is Ashleigh Bonner, founder of the indie educational video game studio Electric Egghead, and I am on the fourth month of Thomas Brush's Start a Game Studio in 12 Months challenge, learning to code, and I'm learning C++, and this is day 22. All right, let's get started. Okay, and it is recording. Awesome. So let's go. Okay. So I'm going to do this kind of like a live coding kind of thing. So I'm not going to do a great deal of editing or anything. I'm just going to do a lot of coding, a lot of learning, and just show it you as is pretty much. All right. So yesterday I've been working on this tutorial by Mike Dane, who is the founder of Giraffe Academy, and I've been just doing these basic things in C++ to grow my skills. I'm using Visual Studio 2015, and I'm going to upgrade 2019, but I haven't done it yet. I'm going to probably go to the library, tomorrow and update my Visual Studio. Okay, so I was struggling yesterday, and because I was trying to, let me just go down really quick. See right here. I was trying to, no, this isn't it. No, okay. Right here, here it is, yep. So, in Mike Dane's tutorial, he was talking about bools, and I was trying to say, like, if, so I was trying to take in whether or not the main character in my program likes writing or doesn't like writing. So I tried to do if likes writing equals yes equals y a character, or likes writing equals y uppercase character, then set the likes writing bool to true, and then false for the if he doesn't like it. But that wasn't working, so I changed the whole program and made it more similar to Mike's. Okay, so now I have the bool character hobbies function, and I have bool likes writing equals with true or false. I'm just testing them right now to make sure the right things output, which they do. I've already tested it. And then so I have if likes writing, and also if the main character likes writing and he likes drinking games, output drinks and writing. Yes, it's true. His writing gets saner as the drinks increase. All right, so this does all work. I just erased all the stuff that didn't work. One thing that I like about Mike's programming is he does this. He puts his else if under the if, but also like tabbed over. And I like that how it's self-contained within the same if. So I've been doing mine the same way as him, because I like how it makes it clear. So, and he also moves the else. Now, I've never seen it that way. I've only seen the if and the else if on separate lines like this. But I like the way he does it, so I'm gonna just follow him in this regard. Okay, so, and then I usually put comments and if to each one, but now with this new method, it's a lot clearer, so I can just erase that. And then, because my function returns a bool, I have it returning the likes writing and the likes drinking games bools. So, but I have a really, not a kind of nasty bug now. It's happening at this other part, when I am looking to see if the character has an E in his name. When you first change the character's name, I'm getting this out of range at memory location error, so I'm looking that up. But I'm gonna just look that up later and just continue the tutorial, and just note that I have this error, which I've already written down in my in my task list, which is right. Let's see, output. Let's just auto hide that, and let's auto hide the error list. Okay, so let me see. Window. I'm trying to open up my task list. How do you do it? Let's see. Anyway, somewhere. Okay, so now that I've done that, and I know that I have this error message, actually, let me just put that I have an error message, and where it is, then I'll just continue. It's up higher. Oh, sorry, not even looking. Neighbor age, character name. Oh, no, here it is. Yes, this is where I'm getting the error message. So I'm just gonna put a to do, fix error message out of range. I'm pretty sure that's out of range. The number is returning is too large, but I have to figure out how to fix it, so I don't know what happened to my task list, but that's okay. Anyway, so now I've gone through and I've learned I've added another function called compare age. And so this Mike is showing us how to do comparisons. So I have a function named compare age, and it returns a double, and it takes in these parameters: the character age, neighbor age, friend age, and the string character name. And these variables are coming from my main function, which is up here. So all I'm doing is sending these 4 variables from my main where they're actually at, and I'm just sending them down to this other function so I can use them again. So rather than like declaring another string character name, I'm just pulling it from the main and saying, here, compare age function, you can use the character name string and the friend age and neighbor age and character age. So that stops me from having to keep, from having to mess up the data by asking the user to put in these things again, because they're not going to remember what these are originally. So I'm just sending them from my main. Okay, so what I have here is I'm checking to make sure that all of these people are at least 1 day old. Is that debugging? Let me stop that. Okay. Oh, that's why my task list is not showing up. Okay, because I'm still in the debugging mode. So let me just get out of that real quick, and I will do this. Okay, let's give that a second to stop what it's doing. Okay, stop now. That's fine. I know that it's broken already. See standard X out of range. Okay, so right. So now that I've done this comparison, oh, here it is. Okay, here's my task list. So when I'm not in debugging mode, here's my task list: to do, move to end, fix error messages, and that // to do makes helps you puts things right in your task list, so you can go back to them. Just double click, double left click, and you'll go right to that line. All right, so output. Okay, so let's continue. So what I did to do the compare age part of Mike's tutorial, rather than do exactly what he did, I made it related to the the programming that I've already done. So I'm just comparing the character's age, the character's neighbor's age, and the character's friend's age. So yeah, so that's just to do that. Okay, so now Mike made a quick little calculator, and I made a quick little calculator function. I'm done a lot of functions, so I'm getting pretty familiar with them a bit better. This calculator function, it has a double num1, double num2, and a character operator. Now, if you put in operator, the actual word, this is a special character in C++, so you can't actually use it like this. So you just want to make it shorter. Into the first name, take it in. Into the first number, take it in. Into the operator, taking the operator into the second number, do that, and then do the actual calculations, the actual things like that. So, and then output it. Okay. So now that you're all caught up and I have it all uploaded to my GitHub for today, I am just gonna keep going, and now Mike's moving on to switch statements. So let's learn about those. Okay. There we go. Oops, there. Okay, so this little, the switch statement takes in a number and outputs the day. So it's like 0 is Sunday, 1 is Monday, things like that. Okay. So I'm going to add another function to the end of my program. It's going to return the string get day of week. Alright. So this function is going to take just one parameter, so it's going to be sent one piece of information from the main function. Okay, so which is going to be an int. Okay, so I have it down here, and it's going to take in an integer, int day num. And I'm gonna change this slightly to match with my program. Okay, so down here I'm gonna put the definition. The definition of a function is where you actually do all the things that you want to do. But at the top of my entire program, I am going to declare the function. So my main will know that the function exists. So if I declare it at the top, my int main will know that it exists here, and then I can define it. I can actually say what it does below my main, and it'll still work. All right, so let me just do, it's a string. Let me just put it by itself. String get day of week, and it takes in a name. Sorry, day. Okay, get day a week. All right, so cool. This is me. Okay, so I'm gonna call this function at the top so I can see it actually work. And this is just the calculator, which I'm gonna call later on once I make that more part of my program. All right. So it takes in. Okay. So once you call your function in the main, once you say yes, I want you to execute the code, you want to put in some actual information. So day num, and it's going to be an integer called day num. So you have to put in some kind of number. So probably like day num. But let me just watch. I think that's wrong. It is wrong. Okay, I haven't defined it yet. So it's saying, user, and the identifier day num is undefined. All right, so I'm just gonna pause here for a second and push play on the tutorial again. Okay, got it. I'm gonna go back to the end and put what do we want to happen in this function. And we're going to be using switches. And switches let you pick like one variable, which is usually an integer, which is it has to be either an integer or I know it has to be an integer, and you can do different things depending based on that one variable. So you can switch things based on that one variable that you are focused on. So I will just keep going. Okay, so oops, oh, RN. String, not capitals. Alright. Have some tea. My sister just got these those cups for me that you just saw. These porcelain cups for Christmas. Oh, okay. Okay. So what Mike is showing right now is if you were trying to do this using if you were trying to do this using if statements, you have to write 8 different if statements. Because you'd have to write, let me write this real quick. Monday. Alright, Monday. Okay. So you'd have to do if day name is equal to 0, if day name, which we initialized. Oh, hold on, let me see. Okay, right here. So this is saying that it's undefined because I never defined it. So I'm gonna do it right here, I think. Day num. Okay, so we have right here. And okay, sorry. Let me go back. Let's just put it right here. Okay. And this is just for an example. This is gonna none of these parts right here is gonna be there later. So I'm just kind of going through the tutorial right now. All right, so day num is a variable and it's an int, so it can't have any fractions or like decimals. So get day of week, the function, you would send it the day, whatever day num you take in from the user or the player. All right, and then after that, when you call this in your main, and this right here, this little line is calling it, saying, oh, I want you to go ahead and execute the code that I have at the bottom right here. And then it's going to call it, and then it's going to do all these things inside of this this defined get day of week function below the main. All right, so what he's talking about right here is if, rather than using switch statements, if we used ifs, we'd have to, if day num is equal to 0, then day name is equal to Sunday. If day num is equal to 1, then day name is equal to Monday. So with an if statement, we'd have to write this if else if thing. I mean, we have to write these else ifs. We'd have to write it 8 different times because we'd have to do Sunday through Saturday, and then we'd have to say, like, what if the user just put something in random, like suck day or something, or like hump day or something, you know? And then it would have to be like, oh, well, what's the default, you know, that kind of thing. I mean, what's the else? So we have to write this 8 different times, but like as Mike says, it's inefficient. There's a better way to do it, which is using a switch statement. All right, so let's see how he does that, which is cooler than, I mean, not cooler, but like easier in this case than if statement. Okay, so let's keep going. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna erase this. Alright, so according to Mike, because we keep checking if day num is equal to something, day num is equal to 0, day num is equal to 1, day num is equal to 2. So if we're saying if the user says day num of type, if you ask the user what number, what day of the week, what is the number for the day of the week, and they put in 0, then it's gonna set the day name to Sunday. So a switch is good for this case because we keep asking the same question. What number day is it? And then we ask it again, what number day is it? And then what number day is it? And because we're asking the same thing, we can use a switch statement to make the code much easier. Alright, cool. Alright, so I'm gonna erase this. So we do switch, open and close parentheses. Okay. So we're comparing day num to 0 through 6 for the different days. Oh, I did this wrong. This is just one equal statement. Okay, so switch statements they work on one integer variable. So they're switching, and all they're saying is if day num, in the case, according to Mike, in the case that day num is equal to 0, then set the day name string variable, assign it to Sunday. So that's what this is saying, and it's a lot cleaner than the if statements, because we're only changing one little part, which is this part that we're gonna set the day name. Well, I'm sorry. We're also changing the in the case, and we're also changing the Sunday. But that's easier than making all those else ifs. So all we're doing is just because we're asking the same question. So rather than writing all that out, we're just saying in the case that it's 0, print this. In the case that it's 1, print Monday. In the case that it's 2, print Tuesday. So I'm just gonna write the rest of it. I was like, wait a minute, what's after Monday? Tuesday. Okay. Okay. So one important thing with switch statements, is if you have to make sure you put this break in there after each one, because this break statement is going to break you out of the case and then go to the next thing. If you forget the break statement, even though your program has already assigned a name to Sunday or to Monday or to Tuesday or whatever, it's gonna keep on looking through each and every case station because you never told it to break out of it. So you shouldn't break out of jail, but if you're doing a switch statement, you should break out of the case. And just sometimes this can be forgotten and stuff, but it's really important unless the only, like, one of the times you don't, according to Mike, that you don't want to put a break statement is if you want multiple conditions to be checked. If you want like case 0 and case 1 to be checked, then you want to leave the break statement out because you want both of them to be checked. All right, so but in this case, we only want one to be checked each time. We only want one to be checked, and then skip out, and then we want our program to break out of the switch statement and go to the next, whatever is next in the program. All right, so. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy this and do the same thing. I'm gonna put a space here. That way I will make sure I don't skip any. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, I think we need the other one. Okay. And then we need the end of it. Okay. So we only need 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Monday, Tuesday, hump day, Wednesday. I spelled it wrong? I spelled it right. Oh, I'm not sure why Wednesday is spelled this way. I don't know. I mean, do any of y'all know why Wednesday has that first D in there? Is it like the day that everyone got married? I don't know. Why does it have a D in there? I don't know. Why isn't it WHEN? SDAY. 3, 4, 5, Friday, and Saturday. Okay, Saturday. Alright, I think everything's spelled properly. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, it is good. I'm just going to pull this up, make it look nice and clean, so the code doesn't look sloppy. You know, looks cleaner when it's all lined up, looking all neat. Alright, let's keep going. Okay. Okay, so now one more thing we want to do with our default statement, not default, sorry, with our switch statement is we want to put a default. Now the default is when the person has, when the user or the player has put in something other than 0 through 6. So when they put in, you know, you have 7 case statements, and when, let's say they put in number 7, right? They put in a 7 instead of, like, you know, they put in too many, they put in the wrong number, or they put in a letter, or they put in a cuss word, who knows what they put in, but it's something other than 0 through 6. And so you want to say default if they put in anything other than the numbers 0 through 6, then output it, then, you know, give them this message. Okay. Okay. So or something like that. You know what? You don't have to make them feel too bad, but not like that. Okay, just make maybe like enter 0 through 6 is invalid, something like that. Whatever. I'm all for just like okay, wrong number, whatever. Just you're still cool. Okay, so we have that. Now let's keep going. Okay, so now that we have our definition of our function right here and this is not within the main. This is this whole separate function that's defined under the main. So now we're going to go back into our main function, which is way up here, which is where all this other code is, and we're going to call it. So first we have to ask the player for something and take in the day num. And then after we've taken in the day num input, we want to then call the function right here, and that will execute that code that we defined at the bottom. All right, so we want to add in here cout. Oops, there we go. All right, let's see what he put. Okay, so what he did was a little different. Instead of asking the user or the player what he did, Mike just did get day of week to make it faster to see if the program is working, and then he just did 0. So what he did was he outputted get day of week, and then he said that the day num is 0. So we should see Sunday. All right, so I'm just going to comment this out for a second and run the program. And that's debug F5, start debugging. No. Let's see. That might be that error message. Let's see. Oh, oops, my bad. Identifier not found. Oh, this is right here. String get day of week, int day num. That's not right. What was it? Identifier not found. Okay, let me try this again. Alright, that's a negative. That's a negative. Let's see. That's not right. Identifier not found. That's right. Here. Get day of week. Output it. Get day of week. Get day num. It's right here. Okay, I did something wrong, which you can see. Let's see, what did I do wrong here? What did I do wrong? Okay, I defined it here. And I want to output it. Okay, sorry. Right here. Okay. Oh, that's the mistake. Okay. So right here you see what I did. I have this lowercase o in the of, and then in the actual this part it's uppercase O. C++ is a case sensitive language. So this get day of week function is not the same as this get day of week function. It's not the same as this get day of week function. Now this one is the same as this one, but when I actually declared it, I declared it wrong, and so that's why it's not working. So I want to make this a capital O so it matches all the other ones. Alright, so noun is undefined. Oops, okay. This one also is undefined. Oh, I put a 0. Okay, cool. Now that should work. Let's see. What do we get here? Debug. Start debugging F5. I should get out Sunday. Ooh, no. Let's see. Error list. And initialize local variable day none used. Okay. Uninitialized. Alright, so that means that you know what, let me comment this out real quick. I just want to see if this returns this 0, putting this into the 0, should give me Sunday. And all I'm saying is, oh, I want you to send this day num 0 to the get day of week function that I defined below the main. Okay, so debug F5, start debugging, and I should get an output. Darn it. No. Denied. Let me see. Reference local variable. For writing. Daynum unreferenced. Sorry, what did it say? Unreferenced local variable. Let me just try erasing it. Let's see. Does that fix it? I don't think it does. It shouldn't fix it. Debug. That should still be broken. Okay. Error. Cannot open it for writing. Uh-oh. Let me just save this code real quick before something breaks and I don't have any code. Yeah, this code is all kind of janky and messed up now. Okay, let's just erase that. Okay, so, alright, I'm gonna close Visual Studio, put this code into my GitHub, and edit this file for today, erase all of this, erase all of this, paste in my new code, and then put a note, has two errors, out of range, out of range error, and link. I'm gonna try that again after I restart Visual Studio. And oh my goodness, it's crazy, but I just got my electric kettle. I went to Ireland my senior year of university, which is 2012. So I've been wanting an electric kettle for 8 years. 8 years, y'all. Freaking 8 years. And I was like, I want an electric kettle, and I never got one. And it just came today, and I'm already using it because, you know, I like tea. It's freaking great. I mean, it literally boils 1.8 liters, which is about like 7 cups in like 3 minutes. It is cool. It's so cool. Alright, so let's see. Tutorial 1.2020. Alright, let's see. Maybe something needs to be restarted. Unclear. Alright, so let's try this again. Let's try this. Debug F5 to start debugging. Maybe I needed to restart Visual Studio. That's what I'm hoping. Okay, yes. Success! Okay, so we had Sunday. Awesome. So we sent the day num 0. Now we didn't take that in. We didn't take that in. We didn't like get the input from the user or the player. All we did was say, here's the 0. Just test it. Okay. So I just go a little bit further. Like here's the little calculator, and you put in the operator plus, and then you put like 23. Then you push enter. And mine does this. It has an error message. But break. Okay. And this is error message out of range. So let me just close this xthrow.cpp. It's throwing this, yeah. So it's throwing an exception because something is broken, which I'll fix. Okay. Actually, let me just put that in my GitHub, which I think I already saved. No, I didn't. Here it is. And here's the actual error message. And now my linking error is not working. I mean, it's working now. All right, that's one error. Awesome. One error. All right. And this actually is a pretty bad. This is a fatal error. That throw an exception breaking thing means I believe it means my program just crashed. I mean, actually, my program did just crash. So I'm gonna definitely need to fix it. This is a fatal error. So it definitely is gonna need to be fixed before I do anything, before I say, oh yeah, it's all done. All right, I'm just gonna leave myself a note of this error for today and commit changes. Okay. Cool. So that's linked up to my GitHub and 12 Months Game Studio. Let's see, some progress. Yeah. In this case, there are not. Oh yes, there is. That's right. This is just anyway. It doesn't matter. Okay. So let me go back to what I was doing. Code. Here we go. All right. That's cool. So I'm gonna go back. So in either way, we did get Sunday. Okay, that's good. That works at the very least. Let's close this down and keep going. All right. Like, we still had to write it 7 times, but it's a lot cleaner without all those parentheses and all these things that can make the code a lot harder when you're doing if and else and all that stuff. So it's a bit cleaner, you know, like Mike says, which is good. So valid input, okay, 0 to 6. Okay, let's go back up to the top and keep going. Alright, I need to fix that error, but I've written it down and I left myself a note. I need to fix it. Alright, so just to test the system, make sure the other options work, let's put in 3. We should get Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We should get Wednesday. Alright, so debug F5. It's gonna break, but it won't break before we get Monday. It's Wednesday. I could be wrong. Debug, start debugging. Okay, I pushed the wrong thing. So we did get Wednesday. That's awesome. And then we'll just try one more. We'll try 6, and we should get Saturday. And this just makes it a bit easier for us to test the system versus asking the user to put in the day num and all these things. We got Saturday also. So we're doing pretty good. You know, considering. All things considering, right? All things considering. Alright, and I'll be right back. Get a little bit more tea. And I got a cookie. A chocolate chip. Alright. So, put my headphones back in, my earbuds, and okay, and just check to make sure the camera's pretty good. Okay. Okay. So, okay. So, I said before to not ignore warnings, and yet here I am ignoring a fatal error that's crashing the program. So, let me actually solve the problem and solve it. It's so let me run it again. I'm gonna push debug, start debugging, let my program break, and then see the error message. Number, sure. Times 94. Okay. Okay. So, okay. So now I'm in the xthrow.cpp file. And this is when exceptions are thrown because there's something really, there's something pretty badly wrong with the program. The one that's being thrown for me is the out of range error message. And I believe this means that I'm out of range for what the number can take in. So, let's see, where was it? Oops, I just talking about. Oh no, where'd it go? Let's see, out of range. Here it is. Okay. Report an out of range error. Okay. So, I'm going to look up this error. So it's happening right. It's happening. It calculated the calculator. The calculator calculated the number, the answer, and then I pushed enter, and then the whole thing just messed up. Okay. So let me just close this and figure out what's wrong with it. I'm still getting familiar with Visual Studio. Unhandled exception. Okay. Show output from debug. Okay. That's not what I need. Error list. It's interesting because I'm not getting that it's an actual error happened, even though of course the thing's crashing. So there's an error somewhere. Maybe an exception and errors, two different things. I don't know. Anyway, let's see. Where does this thing break at? It runs the calculator. It outputs the day of the week, the word associated with this day of the week number, and then it runs the calculator, and then it crashes. Okay. So before I do all this work, let me just move this, the whole thing down at the bottom, and then see what happens. Let me just call it later in my main function. In main, okay, before the return, let's call it right here under character hobbies. Okay. So all this stuff will be just executed later. I just want to see what happens when that stuff is not there. Because this was running fine before I added all that stuff. Alright. Let's see. Let me debug before I do all that work and try to figure out what's wrong with it. Recompiling the main.cpp. Okay. Debug, start debugging. Alright, let's see what happens. Once was a man named Tom Scott. He was 50 years old. He liked the name Tom Scott, but did not like being 50. Oh, you don't like the name Tom Scott? What do you want this man's first and last name to be? Oh, and if y'all want, just add some age appropriate, because children may be watching, first and last name for this man. Please make it age appropriate though, so children can watch and not be regaled by your funny, albeit inappropriate names. Okay, I'm just gonna name him Tim Dashian. Okay, so right now this is working fine. Interesting. Tim Dashian. Okay, like his previous name, but Tim Dashian will do. So as a new name chosen by you, how long is his name? Tim Dashian. Let's see. His name is 11 letters long. Cool. I'm sure you know this, but let's see what letter his name begins with. His awesome, not chosen by him name starts with T. Curious minds want to know, where is the first E in his name? Answer, there are no E's in his name. Let's grab 3 characters of his name, D-A. I only grab 2, but I don't know why that happened. Oh, alright. Because this 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Because okay. This is because there are only 3, because I have it set to start at the 3rd character of his name. So with programming, it starts at 0. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3. And so the 3 is a space. So what you're seeing is space DA. Okay. Tim Dashian has a neighbor. How old is his neighbor? 90. Tim Dashian also has a friend, surprisingly. How old is his must be crazy friend? 88. Tim Dashian and his friend are younger than his neighbor because Tim is 50. He likes to play word games. We're not going to play that right now. Let me see. Okay, so, right. Well, fine then. Don't play. Tim Dashian can play this fun game alone. The lucky number is 10. That's when I was working on an array. So Tim Dashian's boss wants to know her age cubed. Unclear why, but Tim Dashian likes his J-O-B. Sigh. Let's do this. What is his boss's age? Let's say she is 22. And so, his boss's cubed age is 10,648. Yay for her. Okay. So what does Tim Dashian like to do when not figuring out his boss's cubed age? Drinking only. Pipe Pinot, not a pen. That's his life's motto. Saturday, enter first number. Alright, it may be the calculator that's the problem. And then I'll enter a plus. So everything is working. Everything is working. Plus 5 equals 7. That's right. And then it worked fine. Okay. I'm not getting any crashes or anything. That's interesting. Interesting. But one thing that's not happening is the program is not letting me exit. Which means something is wrong. I'm gonna push escape. Let me just close this. Okay. So this actually ran perfectly fine. Go to the end. Alright, so this output Saturday, that's fine. This goes to get day week. Oh man, Microsoft Visual Studio is so nice. Did you see what just happened? Anyway, I went to this inline and it told me which function I'm in right here, get day of week function. And if I go to this one on either side, it'll tell me I'm in the calculator function. That's cool. Now, if you want this red or this highlight, you want to go on the left side. So you want to go inside of your function, and it'll match with the corresponding open bracket, which is cool. Visual Studio, you developers, you're so clever, or you designers, or whoever, user friendliness. Okay, anyway, that worked fine. But how do I get out of this program? It worked. Interesting. It actually worked fine. Well then, what was wrong before? I'm gonna look up what was wrong before just to see what it means with that error message. Nice. Actually, that's cool. Okay, cool. So, one thing I'm wondering is why am I not able to exit out of the program? Calculator. Oh, taking the boss's age. Okay. Oh, that's what it is. It's because I didn't put anything in. So let me just see out. I want to output to the screen. Enter boss's age. The boss's age. This is just a placeholder. Doesn't matter. This is okay. So just a minute. Okay, I'm gonna write that down. All right. So, oops. Sorry. I need to push space and save. Oops, I went the wrong way. See, out gives you less of something, so you use the less than. So I just did the wrong one. All right. So the only reason I have this CN at the end And so the output window won't close down, and I can't see anything. So this just stops the whole thing from closing, so I can actually see what's being printed. I want to fix one more thing, and then I'm gonna test it once more. Okay, so here it is. Okay, so right here, not here, here, it looks a little funny. It's not properly aligned. Let me just erase some of this stuff. And an underscore, oh, sorry. What happened here? Oops. Alright, let's do that. Okay. So, I think this worked fine, actually. Yes, cool beans. Okay. Why does it have this large space? Okay, what was his name? Anyway, so call him Kyler. Let's call him Kyler Versati. Oh my goodness, oh mess. How old is his neighbor? 3. How old is his crazy friend? 78. He and his neighbor are younger or the same age as his friend. Twinsies unite. Possible twinsies, whatever. Okay, so let's skip the game for now. Alright, so let's do, his boss wants to know her cube age. Let's just call her, she's 9. Cube age is 729. Okay, so into the first number, 9. Into the operator, let's do division. And let's divide by 3.2. Now, one thing about my calculator is the calculator can take in decimals because I set the variables to be doubles. Doubles are decimal numbers or things that have fractions, and ints or integers are whole numbers. And so they don't calculate the fractions. So let's see what happens. Okay. So it did 9 divided by 3.2 is 2.8125. So this is just the last little part. After I put in the after I put in the random placeholder boss's age, the program should exit. So I'm going to put in 8 or whatever, it doesn't really matter, and push enter. And then, yes, the program exits. That's what was happening before, where I was like, why is it not exiting? Because I forgot that I was supposed to put in the second placeholder boss's age. Okay, so, okay, this is actually working perfectly fine. Where is it? Where is it? Here it is. I do need a new line here. Okay. That's good enough. So this is getting no errors. Everything is working awesomely. Let me just go up real quick. It looks a little funny though. You see, it's not really printing properly. Possible twinsies. If they're all the same age, they're gonna be twinsies. Let's see. Possible twinsies unite. I believe it's right here. It's looking kind of weird. Okay. So I'll copy this again, upload it to my GitHub. I'm a little paranoid about losing work, so I upload it to a lot of places. You don't really want to have to redo stuff. Alright, open this back up, open up Torch, and then I just do this, because that error message is perfectly fine. But I'm going to look it up anyway. Working code. Added switch statements and let's see what else. Switch statements and that's about it for this one. Good. Alright, so awesome. Now, okay, now to look up that code. and see what they say about this error message. Code. Okay. So let me go back to the history. I'm to the wrong thing. Code. Today. History. And look up that. Look up that code. 23 minutes ago. Here it is. Verified. Let's see. I'm learning GitHub as well. What is this? Something with the clipboard? What's this? Here it is. Wait a minute, let's see what the other thing did. What is this? Probably just see the code. Browse the repository. Okay, cool. So this just lets me just go back and see what it looked like before I committed this one crime right here a minute ago. Okay, so I can go to the CCD whatever, verified, commit signature is verified. Oh, okay, cool. Go back to here and I can see my notes up at the top. So I had a change file with 45 additions and 12 deletions. So I had this right here, and then I changed it, and now this is the new file that I submitted 23 minutes ago. And I can do a split view to see the changes, or unified in GitHub, and it'll just show me those, put together. Alright, anyway, so let's go to this error and see what it means, even though I'm not getting it. I'm not getting the error message anymore. I'm just gonna pause in the tutorial and look this up before I get too far and forget that I ever got it. So let's just look a little bit on Stack Overflow, Google, probably some other websites, and see what's up with this one. Okay, V. I just want to have some idea what this means. Let me get rid of the stuff, extra stuff I wrote. Unhandled exception. I don't know. Out of range. That should be enough to find something. Okay, here we go. Stack Overflow, you are my lovely resource. I'm gonna look up this one, 2017 as well. Getting weird error. C++ also has me covered, cplus.com. I've been on the site a bit, and it's like that. It's nice. Okay, let's go to this one right here. Stack Overflow first. Cool. Okay. Duplicate. Asked 9 months ago. Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna open and link a new tab, and I'll read this other one after I read this part. Okay. So it makes it phone. There's phones from a list of phones. It makes a V card file up there. This is what, 2017? No, let me see what's the date. It doesn't matter. Okay. I'm making a C++ program that gets phones. Oh, and I'm gonna be like reading mostly everything for blind people who may be watching this video. So I'm gonna be reading most of the stuff on the screen. Okay, not all of it, clearly. I haven't read much of anything actually, but in hindsight, I will try to be a bit more descriptive. Okay, so I'm on stackoverflow.com looking at this standard out of range at memory location error that I received in Visual Studio. Okay, so the question that the other person asked in Stack Overflow says, I'm making a C++ program that gets phones from a list of phones and makes a vcard file off of them. However, I'm having problems with the copying of the phones over to the file, which is a string replacement off of a template. How can I fix this? I've tried looking into the site for some solutions, but none of them are about OF stream which is what I'm using to do this. Okay, so then the person has some code. It's a lot of code. So I'm just gonna skip down to a possible solution, which says this is a duplicate of another question, which I've already opened in the link in a new tab. So I'm gonna just, let me see, read a bit the rest of this one answer that on Stack Overflow for this possibly duplicate question. So at Billy O'Neill has a pretty good explanation, which I'll repeat here. str string, or here's a spate of code. str.replace parenthesis string that finds sought, comma sought dot size, parenthesis open close parenthesis, comma replacement is wrong when string dot find open and close parenthesis doesn't find what it's looking for. String.find, open close parenthesis, will return string : in POS, which would not be a valid location in the string, hence the call to replace fails with the index out of range exception you're seeing. Okay, so apparently the string.find is looking for something that it can't find. Alright, so I'm going to close this tab and read a bit on the other tab. Cool. Let's see. Let me just kind of. I'm getting this. Okay. Unhandled exception. String standard out of range at memory location. Okay. String.replace. String.find. Located in this procedures, and they have a bit of code. Then they have the whole CPP file being displayed in Stack Overflow. Please help. I am so stumped. Okay, so general style, it is, this is one comment by one user who left a message on Stack Overflow. General style, it is better to define variables close to the point of use and initialize them at the place of definition. Okay, so I was wondering about this. Should I put my variables like right before I use them, or should I put them at the top? But according to this man, David, it's better to put them close to where you're actually gonna use them, and also initialize them where you are gonna define them. Okay, that's good to know. So here is the checkmark green for good for upvoted answer in Stack Overflow. There are two answers. I'm just gonna read the green check arrow mark. The green check mark arrow. What? Sorry. The green check mark answer. Okay. Alright, I just read that. Change that to string size. Okay. Really, the person just said the little string.replace part that I just read is when it's wrong when string.find open close parenthesis doesn't find what it's looking for. Okay. So, okay, cool. So really it didn't find what it was looking for. Okay, that's good enough for me. I'll go into depth a little bit later, but I want to continue with the tutorial. I have the basics of what happened well enough for now. So, cool. Okay,